Have you ever felt like your resume just vanishes, like into a digital black hole when you
Yeah.
apply for jobs online? Or maybe wondered if there's some kind of secret pathway to career opportunities that, no one really talks about?
Oh, absolutely. It's a common frustration. Yeah. And a question we hear all the time, especially from students and early career folks in MIS, CIS, and IT. So today, we're taking a deep dive into really effective job search strategies. We'll uncover both the visible job market and what we call the hidden one. And a lot of our insights today are inspired by Dr. Joseph H.Schuessler's fantastic guide, Launching Your Tech Career. Really essential stuff.
Yeah, and our mission today is pretty clear. We want to help you cut through all that noise, really understand the tech hiring landscape. It changes fast. We'll compare different job search methods and hopefully equip you with some, actionable strategies to actually land the tech role you want.
Exactly. It's about feeling confident, prepared, and turning that frustration into focused action, really maximizing your success.
And hey, if you find value in this deep dive today, maybe consider following or sharing it with someone else who's navigating their career journey. It might help them out too.
Definitely spread the knowledge.
Okay, so with that big picture set, how does someone even start? Like, where do you begin to navigate this job market? Let's try and understand the playing field first. What's the tech job market actually look like right now?
That's the perfect place to start. You got to know the environment. So the overall U.S. job market, well, it consistently shows millions of vacancies every month. For instance, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS, reported about 8.9 million job openings near the end of 2023. That's a lot of jobs.
8.9 million.
Wow. Yeah, and it's not just a blip. It points to this vast ongoing demand across pretty much all industries.
So even with all the headlines we see about, tech layoffs here and there, the big picture isn't necessarily doom and gloom for tech talent.
Precisely. That's a key takeaway. Despite those headlines, which get a lot of attention, the demand for tech skills is still remarkably robust. Dice.com, for example, reported over 375,000 tech jobs unfilled back in late 2022. And postings were actually up 25% year over year in 2022 compared to 2021. Plus, the BLS projects around 356,700 new openings each year in computer and IT roles all the way through 2033. That shows consistent, long-term growth.
And what's really interesting, I think, is that this demand isn't just stuck in Silicon Valley or the usual tech hubs, right?
Absolutely not. That's a huge point. The need for IT skills is everywhere now. Think traditional industries, healthcare, finance, aerospace, manufacturing. They're all going through massive digital transformations. And they need people like you, MIS, CIS, IT grads to drive it.
So specific roles are booming then.
Yeah, take software development engineers. Dice.com showed their job postings more than doubled up 139% just from 2021 to 2022. So opportunities are really widespread.
Okay, what about remote work? That was huge during the pandemic. Is that trend holding steady for tech roles?
That's a dynamic piece, yeah. Remote tech jobs definitely surged, but we've seen a bit of a pullback recently. HiringLab.org noted remote or hybrid postings dipped to about 7.8% in late 2024. That's down from a peak of like 10.4% in early 2022.
So companies are kind of figuring out the balance.
Exactly, they're adjusting. So it's really crucial for you to stay informed on these trends, remote versus in-office preferences, what skills are hot, like cloud or AI. It shapes your strategy.
Makes sense. So, okay, given this dynamic landscape, how do you even begin to find these opportunities? It definitely sounds like there's more to it than just hitting apply online.
Right. And that leads us perfectly into the two main ways people look for jobs, what we call the traditional approach,
Hmm.
and the more, let's say, proactive parachute approach.
Mm.
Most people know the traditional approach. That's the common method, finding jobs that are publicly advertised.
Yeah, that's what first comes to mind for me anyway. Scrolling through Indeed or LinkedIn, maybe Glassdoor. Submitting resumes through those online portals, applicant tracking systems, maybe calling a recruiter or agency, kind of the standard playbook.
It is the standard, but it comes with some pretty big hurdles. You mentioned applicant tracking systems, ATS. That's often the first wall you hit.
Ah, the dreaded ATS.
Yeah. Over 75% of resumes, believe it or not, get screened out by this software, usually because they don't have the right keywords or the formatting is off. So your resume, no matter how good you are, might never even reach a human.
Wow, 75%. So you basically have to teach your resume to speak robot first.
Pretty much. And even if you get past the ATS, the competition is just fierce. A single online job posting can attract, on average, about 250 applicants.
250 for one job.
Yep. And out of those 250, maybe only 2 to 10 people actually get an interview.
Oof. The odds don't sound great.
They're not, statistically speaking.
Hmm.
Sources like jobhuntersbible.com estimate the success rate of finding a job just through internet boards is somewhere between 4% and 10%. Blindly sending out resumes, maybe 7%. It often feels like a numbers game with really low odds.
Okay, that sounds discouraging if it's all you do. But surely there are some advantages to the traditional way.
Oh, for sure. It's straightforward. It can be efficient if you're applying to many roles quickly. And for some big companies, you have to apply online even if you get a referral later. Plus, it's great for research, seeing what skills are in demand, what salaries are being offered. You learn a lot that way. Just don't put all your eggs in that basket.
Right. So, if the traditional path is like playing the lottery, what's the alternative? You mentioned the parachute approach from Richard Bola's famous book, What Color is Your Parachute?
Hmm.
That sounds like a totally different mindset.
It really is. It's proactive, it's personal. It doesn't start with job ads. It starts with you.
With me, how so?
Well, the first step, the absolute cornerstone, is know thyself. It means doing a really thorough self-assessment before you even look at job titles. What are your skills? What truly interests you? What are your values? What kind of work environment makes you thrive? Bowles found that starting here dramatically boosts in success. Some figures suggest up to 84% success when you really understand yourself first.
Okay, so know yourself deeply. Then what? You're not just passively waiting for postings, then, are you?
Exactly. The next step is targeting specific organizations. You proactively identify companies you genuinely love to work for, maybe based on their mission, culture, or the tech they use. And you research them, even if they haven't posted any relevant jobs. Because here's the thing. Many jobs are created or filled when the right candidate shows up, often before a formal opening is even announced.
Getting on their radar before the job exists.
Interesting. And you mentioned networking, and referrals are key here.
Absolutely critical. Networking is the engine of the parachute approach. It means tapping into everyone you know, friends, family, professors, old colleagues, alumni, LinkedIn contacts. You let them know what you're looking for, ask for advice, seek introductions. Why? Because employers massively prefer hiring someone recommended by a trusted source.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Less risk for them.
Totally. And the stats back it up. A CNBC report mentioned that around 80% of jobs are filled through personal and professional connections. Many of those jobs were never even advertised publicly. 80%. Wow. So that's how you tap into this hidden job market everyone talks about.
Precisely. The hidden job market is just the jobs not posted online. Estimates vary, but it's often said 70% or even more openings fall into this category. They're filled by word of mouth, internal referrals, direct outreach. The parachute approach is designed specifically to access these jobs. You're not waiting for them to surface. You're going to find them.
Can you give us a quick example? Like, how would this work for someone wanting a cybersecurity analyst role?
Sure. Okay, imagine you're into cybersecurity. You find a mid-sized tech firm you really admire. The traditional way. Check their careers page daily.
Yeah.
Boring, low odds.
Yeah.
The parachute approach. You research their security team on LinkedIn, find the director of cybersecurity. Maybe you see you have a shared connection, perhaps a professor or someone from an internship. You ask that connection for an introduction, maybe just for an informational interview with a director. Not asking for a job, just advice. You have a quick coffee chat, learn about their challenges, make a good impression. 2 weeks later, maybe a security analyst spot opens up quietly. Who do you think they might call first? Or perhaps they're so impressed they think, we could really use someone with these skills and create a role. It happens.
That sounds way more strategic, much more targeted. So, okay, let's compare these two approaches head to head. What do the numbers say about effectiveness, especially for IT students and grads?
Right, the numbers really paint the picture. If we look at approximate success rates, the chance a method leads to a job offer, the difference is, well, huge. Online job boards, somewhere around 4 to 10% successful. Mass mailing resumes, the shotgun approach, maybe 7%. Networking and referrals. Direct referrals are maybe 33% effective, but overall, networking is involved in maybe 50 to 80% of actual hires. Massive impact. Contacting employers directly, like in the example, around 47% success rate. Targeted cold calling, if done well, can be as high as 69%. And things like job clubs or group networking, around 70%.
Wow. Okay, the difference is just stark. It's not even close. Online applications are almost a long shot compared to networking or direct contact.
It really highlights that your job search isn't just about finding jobs, but how you pursue them. The traditional way feels easy, but the odds are low. The parachute approach takes more effort up front, but the payoff potential is dramatically higher.
It's like the iceberg analogy, right? The posted jobs are just the tiny tip you see, but the vast majority of opportunities are hidden underwater, accessible through these other methods.
That's a perfect analogy. And these proactive methods are especially powerful in IT. Why? Well, tech communities are often really tight-knit. Think local developer meetups, online forums, open source projects. Being active there connects you. Plus, many tech companies have strong employee referral programs. Getting an internal referral can be huge. It often gets your resume looked at seriously, bypassing that initial ATS filter.
And recruiters are all over platforms like LinkedIn looking for tech people, aren't they?
Constantly. Internal recruiters, third-party ones, they live on LinkedIn, searching for tech talent.
Yeah.
So having a good, optimized profile is essential. And in IT, showing your skills is key. Your GitHub portfolio, your certs, personal projects, networking give you chances to actually talk about and demonstrate that work, which is often way more compelling than just listing it on paper.
So the core message for you, the listener, seems really clear. You need to diversify. Don't stop applying online entirely, but you absolutely must carve out significant time for networking and direct outreach.
That's the critical takeaway. It's about balance, but heavily leaning into the proactive side. And this directly ties into the goals of courses like, say, BCIS 4385 professional development, building these exact skills for career readiness and growth in MIS, CIS, and IT. It's fundamental.
Okay, those numbers are compelling, the logic makes sense, but I can hear listeners thinking, networking, direct outreach, that sounds scary. Or just, where do I even start, especially if you're maybe more introverted? How do you actually tap into this hidden market without feeling awkward or pushy?
That's a super valid concern. And yeah, it can feel daunting at first, but it's more concrete than it sounds. The easiest first step, leverage who you already know, your existing network.
Friends, family, professors.
Exactly. Friends, family, professors, advisors, alumni from your university, people you worked with at internships. Just let them know, casually, what you're looking for. Hey, I'm starting my job search for entry-level data analyst roles, focusing on companies that do X. Keep me in mind if you hear anything. You'd be amazed who knows someone, or who can offer a useful introduction or piece of advice. It's often less awkward than contacting total strangers initially.
Okay, that feels manageable. What about those informational interviews you mentioned? How do they work?
Informational interviews are gold. They're low-pressure chats. You reach out to someone in a role or company you're interested in, maybe find them on LinkedIn and ask for 15, 20 minutes of their time, not to ask for a job, but to learn from their experience.
So the focus is on gathering information, not asking for a job.
Right. You might say, hi, name. I'm a student graduating soon in MIS, and I'm really interested in project management roles in the healthcare tech space. I saw your profile and admire company's work. Would you be open to a brief virtual coffee chat sometime so I could learn more about your career path and get some advice?
Huh.
People are often surprisingly willing to help students or people early in their careers. During the chat, you ask thoughtful questions, listen well, and then maybe towards the end you can mention your interests and skills. If you've made a good connection, they might offer to pass your resume along or tell you about a team that's hiring or connect you with someone else.
And always follow up.
Right. Always. A quick thank you email within 24 hours is crucial. It shows professionalism and keeps you top of mind.
Okay, so existing network, informational interviews. What about reaching out directly to companies you like, even if you don't know anyone there?
That's the direct outreach piece. First, identify maybe 5, 10 target companies you're genuinely excited about. Research them. Then, try to find a specific person to contact, maybe the hiring manager, for the type of role you want, an internal recruiter focused on university hires, or even just an alum from your school who works there. LinkedIn's alumni tool is great for this.
And what do you say? Just hire me.
Definitely not. Keep it polite, professional, and concise. Introduce yourself briefly. Say why you're impressed with their company or a specific project. Mention the type of role or skills you offer, and politely inquire if they anticipate any needs in that area or if they could suggest who might be the best person to connect with. Think of it as a polite knock on the door. Many won't reply, and that's fine. You're looking for the few who do. One positive response can lead somewhere.
Makes sense. What about industry events or meetups? Still valuable.
Hugely valuable, whether virtual or in person. Conferences, career fairs, local tech meetups, hackathons. Go to these. But don't just collect swag. Talk to people. Ask questions. Build connections. You might chat with an engineering manager who mentions offhand they're looking to grow their team soon. Get their contact info, connect on LinkedIn with a personalized note referencing your conversation.
And LinkedIn itself, you mentioned recruiters live there.
Yeah.
How can you use it beyond just finding job ads?
Yeah, be proactive on LinkedIn. First, make sure your profile is 100% complete, professional photo, keyword-rich headline and summary, like Miss Student Aspiring Business Analyst Seeking Opportunities in FinTech. Turn on the open to work feature strategically. Then, connect with recruiters in your target industry. Don't just send a blank request. Add a note. Share relevant content, maybe an article you found interesting or a quick post about a project you completed. Engage in relevant groups. Be visible.
Got it. Any other ways to get noticed or use academic resources?
Definitely. If you're technical, contribute to open source projects on GitHub. Answer questions on Stack Overflow. Build a personal portfolio website. These demonstrate your skills proactively. And don't forget your professors. They often have great industry contacts. Talk to them. And absolutely use your university's career services. They have resources, connections, maybe even alumni databases you can tap into. Treat internships and even class projects seriously. Impressing an employer there can directly lead to job offers, sometimes for unposted roles. Follow companies you like on social media too. Sometimes hints about hiring come from expansion news or new projects.
Okay, this is a lot of great actionable stuff. It sounds like this approach definitely requires more initiative, maybe some patience, and a bit of creativity. You're essentially acting as your own salesperson, marketing yourself.
That's a great way to put it. You are marketing yourself. And yeah, you'll face silence, you'll get polite no's, but remember, it only takes one yes. And honestly, landing a job through these proactive methods often feels way more rewarding. You know you made it happen. Plus, these jobs often end up being a better fit because you targeted companies that genuinely align with your interests and values from the start.
Okay, so we've talked about the strategies. Now, what about the tools? There are so many job search platforms out there: LinkedIn, Indeed, Dice, company sites. How should people think about using these and balancing them with the networking approach?
That's a critical piece, managing the tools effectively. Let's quickly break down a few key ones for tech job seekers. First, LinkedIn. Strengths. Obviously, the networking powerhouse. Recruiters are all over it. Tons of job listings. Weaknesses. Competition on those public listings can be insane. Sometimes you get irrelevant messages. Tip: optimize your profile. Use open to work. Actively connect and engage. Don't just apply blindly.
Okay, LinkedIn for networking and some applications. What about Indeed?
Indeed's big strength is sheer volume. It aggregates jobs from everywhere, has powerful search filters, company reviews. Weaknesses: again, high competition, and it's less focused on networking. Tip: use Indeed to cast a wide net. See what's out there, research roles, but always try to tailor your application and ideally find a direct contact too.
And you mentioned Dice earlier.
Yeah, Dice is tech-focused. Strength:
Yeah.
niche, so fewer irrelevant jobs, maybe slightly less competition per posting than the huge general boards, good industry insights. Weaknesses: not as comprehensive as Indeed or LinkedIn, fewer networking features. Tip: good supplement, especially for specific tech roles. Make sure your resume is uploaded to their database so recruiters can find you.
Are there others worth mentioning quickly?
Definitely check company career pages directly. They're often the most up-to-date. Glassdoor is great for salary research and company reviews. Career fairs, virtual or in-person, blend traditional applications with networking. Don't discount niche social media groups or forums related to your field. And building relationships with good tech recruiters can give you access to roles before they're widely posted.
So, when you look at all these platforms and methods, what really stands out about how they should work together? It's not just picking one, right?
Exactly. The key insight is that job boards like LinkedIn, Indeed, Dice are generally good for finding potential openings, but statistically less effective for actually landing the job because of the volume problem. Networking and direct contact are much more effective for landing the offer. So the most powerful strategy, especially in IT, is usually a hybrid approach. Maybe you find an interesting role on Indeed. Then you hop over to LinkedIn, research the company, see who works there, maybe find the hiring manager or someone you know. You reach out, try to get an informational interview or a referral. Then you apply, potentially with that inside track. It's about using the tools strategically, not just blasting out applications.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, to kind of wrap up our deep dive today, the big takeaway is that an effective job search in tech, well, it goes way beyond just filling out those online forms. It's really about combining the traditional approach, keeping an eye on posted jobs, with that proactive, strategic parachute approach to unlock all those hidden opportunities through networking and direct outreach.
Absolutely. By doing that, you significantly stack the odds in your favor. Technology makes applying easy, maybe too easy sometimes. But the human element, building connections, showing genuine interest, communicating effectively, that's still incredibly important in hiring decisions. Use the data, use these strategies we talked about, work smarter, not just harder, in your job hunt.
Yeah, great advice. We really hope this deep dive has given you some powerful tools and maybe some new perspectives for your career journey. If it has, please do take a moment to follow our show or maybe share it with a friend or classmate who could benefit too.
Help spread the word.
So, as you head into your week, here's something to think about. What's maybe one new strategy from today that you're excited to try in your job search? Just pick one to start with, think about it, and then, go actually try it.
Take that first step.
Remember, your career is a journey, and every step you take today builds the future you imagine. Keep learning, keep growing, and go make it happen.